And we see Justin Jefferson fumble out of the end zone in this game as well. Maybe the Vikings fans are griping about that. They hate to see it. He's reaching for the pylon, fumbles out of the back of the end zone, and it's a touchback. Eagles ball. And so now everybody is up in arms, and everybody's sitting here asking, should this rule be changed? Should they change this rule to where if it goes out, it's not defensive ball? Well, let's just take a look at the game of the NFL and realize that it is offensively driven. Pass interference is very easy for a veteran to be able to shrug off, or even a rookie that's smart enough. Wide receiver, it's easier for them to make moves to have the defensive pass interference called than it is vice versa. We see all of the rules that are slated towards the offense to protect the quarterback to where now you can't lead with your helmet. Of course, that's targeting and a health issue, but it's to protect the people that have the ball in their hands. And of course, you could have led with your helmet on a block as well. But the NFL is such an offensive league. Very, very offensive league. And on the 100 yards that are in between the home and the away end zone, if you fumble it, even if a defensive player comes up and punches it out of your grip, it's still offensive ball. I think that should be tweaked to where if the defense touches the ball and then it goes out of bounds, they were the last one to get their hands on it. It's not basketball to where, oh, you touch it and go out, so it's the other team's ball, where the ball kind of goes out very often and is loose because the ball is secured in the NFL. Whenever that goes out of bounds, that's offensive ball. I think if the defense touches it, it should be defensive ball. I think even if they force the hit, if it is a hit, you go back and look at the replay. Oh, yeah, clearly that contact from that defensive player forced that fumble. If the ball then goes out of bounds and it's not touched by anybody, you can argue that should be a defensive player's football. And probably defensive players would tell you that, right? I was looking at some comments on Instagram about this that I thought were just kind of right up my alley on how, how the rule kind of plays out. Some people say, no, it's a good rule. Fumble that close to the end zone and you deserve to get penalized. That I agree with, because the sweet spot is the end zone. The end zone is the end all be all. You get the most points by an offensive player crossing into the end zone. If you're going to be that risky and reach for the pylon, first of all, the ball is exposed, so there's no ball security. You're already risking it being popped out there. If you let go of it, yes, you should be penalized, because now you're in the sweet spot. You're in the sweet zone. Because let's be real, if it goes out at the 1, if someone comes up behind you, punches the ball out, and it rolls forward to the 1, that's gained yards for the offense. That's a first down. But we want the rule changed for offensive players because they can't hold on to the football when they're stretching for the pylon. These comments are pretty good. One person said, I swear, bro, any NFL rule that works for the Eagles, they want to change it. Someone said, no, what would be the alternative? If you can't hold onto the football in that part of the field, you deserve to lose possession. No, you cannot reward poor ball security in the end zone. That I agree with. It's such a simple rule that's only getting talked about because it's happening to Justin Jefferson. He fumbled in the end zone. It's a touchback, clearly. No, don't change it. This is one of the only rules that benefits the offense. If you're close to the end zone, you've got to hang on to the ball. When you reach for the pylon, there's got to be some risk involved. I agree with that. I agree with all of that. That was I literally just hearted all those comments as I was going down on Instagram, because I'm like, this is really gaining traction. Don't change the rule. This is one of the few rules that benefits the defense, even if it's the defensive player, even if it's not the defensive player forcing the touchback. Or excuse me, I'm trying to figure out how to say this. Well, the way I'm thinking about it is, like, if they fumble, and even if it's not a defensive player that's, knocking it out for the touchback, I guess you could argue in that aspect that what's it called? I guess you could argue in that aspect that the offense could keep the ball, but realistically, again, if you're going to reach for the pylon in the end zone, there's got to be some risk. There's 100 yards of green grass with labeled numbers and hash marks for every single yard that is in between the sacred zone of the end zone, the barrier you must cross to score the most points in this sport. If you fumble anywhere in between that, no matter how it happens, if it goes out of bounds, offense is ball. And we've kind of heard about that too. If I really had to get specific with it, you take, if it's clear that defensive contact makes the ball go out of bounds in that 100 yards between the end zone, you could claim defensive ball. If maybe the person just loses possession and it goes out, then Chad Ochocinco actually said on Nightcap with Shannon Sharp, you place it back at the 25. That might be fair as well, but I got to stick with the whole, it's one of the only rules driven towards the defense. If you're going to reach for the pylon, there has to be some risk involved. So y'all get in the chat, get in the comments, let me know what you think about the Eagles beating the Vikings 34-28 on Thursday Night Football. Should the NFL change the fumbling in the end zone rule, which equals a touchback? Sorry, Darby. I don't know why you didn't get a notification that I went live. I did go a little live later tonight. I wasn't sure if the chat was working, so thanks for getting in there and chatting with me. But yeah, you agree about the rule as well.